Hello, this video regards the Nazi fascist America, and we're going to look right now at how America is full of fascist Nazis. So let's go ahead and look at the Nazi fascist America. First, let's look at what fascism and Nazi stuff has to do with slavery. We see an example of it. Let's put an example up. A New South Wales missionary was a horrified witness to the slaughter by mounted police of a group of dozens of Aboriginal men and women and children. 45 heads were then boiled down, and the 10 best skulls were packed off for overseas. Wow. That's the way the treatment was. Okay. Let's look at some more. Hitler also said in Mein Kampf that Asians were somewhat ape, black Africans were predominantly ape, and Jews were totally ape. So that is an example of stuff that Hitler would say, example of what slavery did in the treatment of black slaves in the past. So we see other examples. Nazi racism, the night of broken glass. This is when the Nazis went around and they destroyed all the businesses and such of the Jews. Okay. The Nuremberg laws and other Nazi proclamations pronounced that the Jews were not on the same level. They were not developed enough as humans to be on the same level, and therefore they could exploit them or kill them or do what have you. Okay, which led to the genocide of the Jews, which eventually led to them killing them. Nazi, that is short for this phrase in German. I do not know how to say it, but it's short for the phrase. Okay, they attacked and killed people basically for thinking and speaking out in ways that were different than what the Nazis wanted them to say or think. Okay, so what is like the philosophy that led to this? Okay, here's an example of another writing from an early writing regarding Nazi philosophy. At some future point, not very distant, as measured by centuries, the civilized races of man will almost certainly exterminate and replace the savage races throughout the world. This is tied to racism right here. At the same time, the anthropomorphous apes, as Professor Schuss, some German Nazi name, has remarked, will no doubt be exterminated. The break between man and his nearest allies will then be wider, for it will intervene between man in a more civilized state, as we may hope, even than the Caucasian and some ape, then as low as a baboon, instead of how now it is between the Negro and the Australian and the gorilla. So if they can kill and exterminate the races, black, okay, Negro and Australian, the blacks there in Australia, okay, then they can make the break between man and his nearest relatives, the apes or baboons, even wider. That was the thinking and the goal in this writing. Okay, so what is this philosophy? Well, very simple. It's basically evolution. Okay, that quote came from Darwin in The Descent of Man. I'm not sure if you understand it or knew it or not, but the entire title of his other book is not The Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection. It is the origin of species by means of natural selection and the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life. Okay? That's the philosophy that burned racism and Nazism right up. And so what we have here is basically you have the Night of Broken Glass. Okay, let me ask you, which political party is going around and breaking up stores and looting and destroying property? Yeah, it's not the conservatives, is it? No. Which party has made laws and proclamations and such that say one group of humans are not developed enough to be considered humans and therefore we can kill them in the womb? Which group is that? It's not the conservatives. Which side is overly critical of the Jews? It's not the conservatives. Okay, which side has a large portion of their political party that would like to change this country into a socialist country? It's not the conservatives. And guess what this phrase means? Guess what Nazi means in German? National Socialist Party. So which party is the one that's going around and attacking and even killing people now for thinking and speaking out different than they do? It's not the conservatives. Okay. And which party has the actual philosophy, because they would never ever want to put the Bible back into schools after they took it out in the early 60s? Which party wants to keep evolution as the philosophy in schools? It's not the conservatives, who would put the Bible back in at any time as it's supposed to be, because that's where it was from the beginning. Okay. This is all the stuff that the liberals do. People, they want to change this country to a socialist country. That's the party that Hitler was a member of. That people, this is the philosophy that the liberals want in our public schools. Take the Bible out and put the philosophy of our enemies in. People, the conservatives would put the Bible in a heartbeat. The real conservatives would have no problem with that. These people want this. They want evolution. That is racism. To say that some humans are further along than others. I mean, what do you think Hitler was basing his master race on? It was evolution. Okay? When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declaration, the causes which impel them to separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. This is our heritage. This is what conservatives believe. This is what liberals believe. The origin of species by means of natural selection and the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life. Exterminate the savage races, making the break between man and his nearest allies even wider. Like the Negro and the Australian and the gorilla. So what will you do? See, truth faces a no-win scenario where its belief depends upon the heart of men and all they desire is the lie. You can go around calling conservatives Nazi fascists if you want. Okay? But that's not the truth. The truth is it's the other way around. Mankind will choose the minuscule bare minimum of possibility over the colossal gauntlet of truth. When doing this, provides him with the inappropriate path of sin that he so greatly desires to tread. You're going to do what you want to do. You're going to believe what you want to believe. But I assure you, the truth never changes. The emperor is not wearing any new clothes. He's naked. And it doesn't matter how many letters come after your name. Doesn't matter at all. The truth is the truth. You can't change the truth. All you can do is deny it or defy it. And that's it. The people who want to hold on to the heritage of this country, want to hold on to the republic that they haven't seen since 1950s, when they threw the republic out and made it a secular humanist democracy in the early 60s, those people are holding on because they know it was better than this mess. And the reason that slavery was ended and the reason that Hitler was defeated is because we had the philosophy in place to destroy him. See, eventually, even if people in the past did have slaves when they lived here, even if they did, eventually it ran into the philosophy, all men created equal from the Bible, and boom, it destroyed it. But yet 20 years after it defeats Hitler, you want to pull it out and put that in. That's what you're teaching the children at schools. Evolution. That mankind is evolving to a higher level. Yeah, look outside and see how people are behaving. Do you really think they're evolving to a higher level? I don't think so. Okay? No. No. They're not evolving to a higher level. Anywhere. Never have, never will. But if you teach children that they're nothing but animals, what are you going to expect from their behavior? Why are all these people out looting and running around? It's because they act like animals. It's because they're not following God and His Word. They're following the secular humanist democracy. And people, it is only going to get worse. It is only going to get worse. Okay? Well, there you have it. That is not conservatives. Every one of those things is being done by liberals, not conservatives. And for these people to get up there and incite these people to do it, it just shows that they are more interested in political power than the safety and well-being of the nation's people. Period. They wouldn't have ever even said Trump was a Nazi or conservatives are a Nazi if they didn't think it would give them political leverage. That's why they're doing it. They were just waiting for a white cop to shoot a black man so they could make it about race, so they could start this mess, so things would fall apart, so they could say, oh, Donald Trump's fault, we need somebody else in the White House. That's all this was. It's a manipulation. And we, the conservatives, are not the Nazis. Look in the mirror, okay? And in all actuality, you know, when you look at these things, you actually are on your route to becoming a Nazi. You want the same political schematic, same political party, socialism. You're rioting in the streets, breaking up other people's property. You're killing innocent children just because you're saying they're not developed enough to be human. You're attacking and killing people for, they don't even have to speak out. All they have to do is wear a hat with MAGA on it. And you actually have the philosophy that you want being taught to children in schools, that Hitler and slavery and racism all have the same philosophy as your philosophy. And if you people think these people are Christian just because they tell you they aren't. They're just telling you that so you feel okay voting for them, when in fact, people, that's not Christian. So if they believe in this and tell you they're a Christian, they're not a Christian. They're lying to you. Just so you feel comfortable voting for them. But if you ask them to go from that to this, all men created equal, there is no way they would. People, with this Declaration of Independence from Europe and its evil philosophies, that's from its evil philosophy. That's Declaration of Independence from evolution. And they're teaching it in the schools. It's evil. It's always been evil. It's nothing new. It's been evil from the beginning. All right. Thanks a lot.